We welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Friday, January 7th. I'm Gary Stevens. It is the first Friday of the month, which means at this time we catch up with what is going on with the Community Foundation of the Holland, Zeeland area. And via the Zoom connection, we are joined by its president, Mike Goorhouse. Mike, good morning and Happy New Year, sir.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you have a question about the CFHZ, Mike will be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before I go any further, because we're going to take a look back at 2021, and we're also going to take a look at some scholarships that will be available through the CFHC. I do need to bring up something I saw on, I believe, one of the social media channels. Congratulations from the CFHC to Mike Goorhouse for 10 years of being its president. It doesn't seem that long ago that you took over the reins, but the CFHC has grown a lot under your tutelage. And I obviously, being humble, I can understand not wanting to take a lot of all the credit, and you want to pass it on to others. But how much has the foundation changed in the decade since you've been its president?
Well, I want to first clarify. So I joined the foundation on staff 10 years ago. I became president 8 years ago. So just a quick clarification there. But, it has changed a lot. I mean, the whole world's changed a lot in 10 years, really. I mean, it's interesting to think about a decade ago. 2012 was when I joined the foundation. We were coming out of the recession, right? I mean, 2009, 10 were some crazy years. 2012, we were kind of working our way out. And so I joined at a pretty fortuitous time for growth, certainly. And the foundation has nearly tripled in assets. We have the amount of grants we give out every year is close to tripled as well. And, a lot of that has to do with folks in the community being generous. I mean, again, you think about kind of economically over the last 10 years, our community's done well. I mean, many in our community have done very well over the last 10 years, and many of those folks have shared those blessings with others. And the Community Foundation, I'm grateful, is a vehicle that people trust to help facilitate that. And that's what we are. I mean, we help facilitate giving between donors and nonprofits that make impact in our community. And if we do that well and people see that we're adding value, then they trust us, and that's good. And if we aren't doing that well, then they don't. So I think, what's heartening to me is, one, I mean, it's a privilege to be in this role in this organization, to just be able to be involved with so many people and so many important things happening in town. But most importantly, I would say, what's meaningful to me is that people have continued to see the Community Foundation as an entity that they value and that they see has a role in the community that they want to be a part of. And we're not perfect. We never will be. And I don't think anyone is. We're learning and growing and getting better along the way, but certainly grateful to have been a part of some pretty cool things. I mean, a lot has happened. So yeah, a lot of smiles to go around. 10 years is a good journey, and I'm excited. So lots more to come.
Mike, you mentioned about the past 10 years being with the organization. Let's talk about this past year. It has been a challenging year, maybe a different type of challenge than certainly 2020 was for the CFHC.
Yeah. No, it's thankfully it wasn't 2020. That was a crazy year. I mean, 2021 had its challenges too, but no, it was a good year for the foundation in a lot of ways. So just to highlight kind of year in review of the Community Foundation, we talk about how we doing with gifts coming in, how are we doing with managing the funds that we have, and how are we doing with giving the resources out. And so a quick highlight of those three, we received just over 14 million in total gifts in 2021 that came to us. Our investment returns for the year, which are still a little preliminary, we're early, but over 15%, so 15.6% in investment returns, which is a really strong year. And then giving dollars out, we gave more than 10 million in grants out last year. And that goes across a wide variety of things. That includes scholarships, that includes kind of our competitive grant process. It also includes donor advised funds and other kind of donor services that we offer. So that's kind of a collection of all the things. But if you say we have 14 million in, we had an investment year of 15.6%, we gave 10 million out. Folks, that's a really, really big year for the Community Foundation in a lot of ways. And so that's been really fun. I mean, the numbers are great, but a couple stories just to highlight. We couple highlights from the year. We had we've been running this Promise Scholarship program for a long time. I know we're going to talk about scholarships in a second, but the Promise Scholarship is kind of our community scholarship where folks can give and pool resources together, and we support students, particularly those with high financial need, getting access to college. And we had someone give $1 million to start an endowment for that program. Up to this point, it's been dollars in, dollars out, but the endowment was started with $1 million gift, which is a really big deal. So that was a really generous gift. We also, and during the year, we're a part of, as just an example, kinds of things we were a part of. The United Way does a community assessment every 3 years, which provides us data and information about the various needs happening in town. And so we were a part of that effort in 2021. So the new community assessment is out from the United Way. And then we also were involved in some other important things happening in town, particularly with the Ottawa County has American Rescue Plan dollars that we are serving on a task force to help give recommendations for how to spend those resources in our community. Hope College in the city of Holland have some resources from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation for community-based partnerships that we're helping to serve on a task force related to that as well. And then Housing Next, our affordable housing work that we're meaningfully involved in, had some really big things happen in 2021 as well. So, I mean, the stories could go on, but it, kind of give you a sense of the wide variety of things that we've been involved with education and scholarships to housing, to helping others distribute resources in meaningful ways, and grants around the arts, grants around mental health. So in general, overall, we directed just under $1 million from our community's endowment into the community last year, and then over close to $1 million in scholarships last year, and then also helped facilitate giving for many others as well. So it was a good year. We had we celebrated crossing 100 million in assets during the year. Well, with everything else that went on the year, now we're over 115 million in assets. So we had a big year of growth on that front. We're also we're thinking about our grant making strategy. We had an approach to grant making that we used before COVID. Then we had an approach that we used during 2020 and 2021. And now we're trying to figure out what's the balance. We'll bring back some of how we used to do things. We'll also keep some of the new way we did things. And so we're trying to figure out that balance right now. And so it was a good year on all fronts, and lots of things going on in the community. But for us, the foundation, it was a meaningful year.
And keeping that flexibility and agility that the foundation really needed, especially in the early days of the outbreak, maintain that ability to be able to change things on the fly when the circumstances needed.
That's right. And that's the key to who we are. So when I mentioned our community's endowment, that's the flexible dollars that people have given to us and said, hey, we need you to respond to whatever needs and opportunities arise, both now and in the future. And so the name of the game is, the phrase we use is always relevant. So flexibility is a good phrase. We always say always relevant because that's our job. No matter what's happening in the community, we have resources to respond. And so that is the name of the game. And there's never been a time like the last 2 years where being nimble and being able to be flexible has mattered, but we see that going forward. We see there's a lot of these public dollars that are flowing through the system right now, and depending on where those dollars go, we may need to pivot, right? So if there's resources going into a certain area, well, then we can put resources somewhere else. Or if there's no resources going to this other area, then we need to step up there. And so there's a number of issues that are have high priority in the community right now. You think about housing, you think about childcare, you think about mental health, and so there's a number of issues that we're keeping our eye pretty close on, and we'll see. If dollars go one way, then we'll kind of pivot somewhere else, and if there's another new thing popping up, then we'll try to be a part of that too. But we do see a number of opportunities for our community to continue being better. I mean, it's always the balance of, we need to celebrate the good things going on in our community because there are lots of them. And I think sometimes if you focus entirely on the celebratory things, you can mask or hide some of the needs that are out there in our community. And I think you can't be just one side or the other, right? You can't be entirely doom and gloom and everything's bad and no good, but you also can't get caught too far being only positive either. So I think the foundation tries to live into that tension. And how do we celebrate the good things that are happening, but also call out the real needs that are happening in town, so that we can address them, because there are, there's some data. The community assessment from the United Way has some data points going in the right direction and some going in the wrong direction, and we have to pay attention to that as a community.
Mike, you mentioned before about possibilities of scholarships and how that's helped during 2021. Talk about the scholarship season that's underway right now.
It is scholarship season, and I got to tell you, I know it feels like it's a long ways from fall of 2022 with the blizzard going on out here, but it is time to prepare for the school year that is upon us. So the foundation manages over 100 scholarships, and we give away close to $1 million in scholarships per year. So if you are someone who is pursuing a post-secondary education next year, many of these scholarships are focused on individuals who are graduating as high school seniors right now, but some are open to other students of any age who are pursuing their degree. And I encourage you, if you know someone, spread the word. The application is on our website, www.Cfhc, that stands for Community Foundation Holland Zeeland.org. There's a link that takes you right to the scholarships. You can read about the scholarships there. You can also apply for, almost all the scholarships are applied for at one time. It's a common application that you apply for, and it makes you eligible for roughly 80% of those scholarships, which is great. So you fill out one application, you can apply for a number of scholarships at the same time. There are also some scholarships that are quite specific and have a specific application, but you'll see that on there. But the scholarships range there's all different types of scholarships. So there are some that are very specific to certain areas of study. So we have a number of scholarships for folks going into healthcare, like nursing and other kinds of healthcare fields, a number of scholarships for folks studying education, elementary education, secondary education, certain types of fields of education. We also have scholarships for specific types of people. So individuals who are children of first responders. We have three scholarships for folks that are pursuing law enforcement degrees. So as you can kind of get a sense, you have this wide variety of scholarships that may or may not apply to you. And so I encourage folks just to check it out and see. And then, of course, there's generic scholarships, folks that are strongly involved in community service. We have scholarships for those that have done really well academically, for those that have high financial need, just kind of a wide variety of scholarships that are out there. And so two things. So one, if you know someone, spread the word, have them check it out, have them fill out the application. It's due March 1. So we have a couple months, but it's due March 1. You have to write some essays and get some recommendations. So don't wait till February 20 to start. Start in the next few weeks here, but encourage to spread the word. And while I'm doing that, I also take a second to thank all the donors who have set up the scholarships. So these 100+ scholarships were set up by individuals who said, I want to help support other people in the Holland Zeeland area pursuing a post-secondary degree. So every single one of these was set up from someone who was wanting to give back to our community in that way. So I want to thank all those that have done that. And if that is of interest to you to set up a scholarship, maybe in your family's name or in memory or in honor of a loved one, it is a wonderful way to carry on the legacy of others and name the scholarship on behalf of someone. Or if you don't want your own named scholarship, we have this community scholarship. We call it our Promise Scholarship, which is maybe 150 or so folks give to that every year. They pool the resources together, and we have a robust application process to pick students who are doing well academically with high financial need in our community. And so that's an option too. I mean, we know that post-secondary education is both expensive, but we also know the statistics are that your lifetime earnings are quite a bit more if you can get that degree. And for many, that's the ticket that they need. And so it's a pretty cool thing to be a part of. And so scholarship season, you have the next month and a half or so to apply. Cfhc.org, deadline March 1. check it out, and love to have, if anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to message our team, and we'll certainly make sure to walk you through whatever you need related to scholarships.
I have a couple of questions before we go, Mike.
Yeah.
First of all, the decisions on the scholarships made by the CFHC or made by, for example, it's a scholarship with Hayworth, Scholarship Hayworth would make the decision.
So we have a scholarship review committee of community volunteers that makes the decision. So we've got 11 folks that participate in that process. They're former teachers. They're for folks who worked at colleges, universities, some, financial advisors, and so different kinds of folks. So yeah, we make the decisions. That's part of the process for it to be a charitable scholarship, is that we have to have an independent selection process. But
I just didn't
yes.
know whether or not it was, was by the foundation or maybe an outside situation. The other question, Mike, is this. For those students who are not adventuresome, but industrious,
Okay.
can they apply for more than one and receive more than one from the CFHC, or only one scholarship per student?
No, you can receive more than one. So when you apply through that, the generic application that applies for 80 some scholarships, you definitely can get more than one. And if you apply for, some of these have individual specific applications, you can apply for more than one of those. So it's all about what you qualify for. And our job, so here's the commitment that we make when someone sets up a scholarship here. They set up the criteria. They say, we want to support this kind of student. It's someone from Zeeland schools who's going to be an engineer and who did really well in, academically. So our job is to find the best fitting student that match the criteria that the donor wants to support. That's our job. So if one student happens to be the best fit for 3 or 4 scholarships, they're going to get 3 or 4 scholarships. And some scholarships are bigger than others, right? So some are smaller. And so 3 or 4 may add up to more. Some are quite large. And so short of someone not having any more financial need, they do have the possibility of getting more scholarships.
As always, Mike Goorhouse, we run out of time before we run out of subjects to talk about. Appreciate you joining us. And again, the website is cfhz.org for more information on the scholarships and how you can help the Community Foundation. Mike, have yourself a good week. Thank you very much. A good month, I should say. Thank you very much, and wish everybody well there. And we'll talk again next month.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike Goorhouse on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.